So there's many different aspects of the mind. One which in yoga we are calling manas. Manas means the five senses, experience of the mind and the five senses. Another aspect of the mind, and all of these things can be observed directly through observation of your own mind, is something which in yoga we are calling buddhi. Buddhi means the discriminatory aspect of the mind, that part of the mind which discriminates. So for example, if it wasn't for the discriminatory aspect of the mind, you would not know what is the difference between yourself and the very seat on which you are sitting. Then we have something called chitta. Chitta is pure consciousness itself, the conscious dimension of the mind. And then there's another aspect of the mind which in yoga we are calling ahamkhara. And ahamkhara is the sense of I, the ego identification of the mind. And of all of these things that I've mentioned, only one of them is a problem, which is ahamkhara, the ego identification of the mind. What does that mean? There's a certain part of your mind, whatever's happening in your experience, whether it's seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, whether it's the thought process of the mind or passing emotions, there's a certain part of your mind which attaches the idea of I, me, or mine to whatever's happening in your experience. And all the suffering and struggling of life, if you observe it, if we are rational, you will see that it is always directly connected to this, that human beings are living with a heightened sense of self-importance. I'll tell you a story about the sense of self-importance, a true story. So probably all of you are aware that once upon a time there was a period where humanity believed that the earth was the center of the universe, which is very logical because this is the way it is in our inner experience. When you're looking at life through the lens of your ego, it actually seems as though the whole universe is revolving around the ego. That aside, when we look at the sun and we say sunrise, sunset, this is just an optical illusion. The sun never rises, the sun never sets. It is the earth which is in motion around the sun. So seeing it from short-sighted perspective, we thought that the earth was the center of the universe. Then Copernicus came. What did Copernicus discover? Looking out into outer space through the telescope, he looked at Jupiter. He found something which was amazing. Contrary to the conventional wisdom of his time, he found that Jupiter has 4 moons. Now, if it is true that the Earth is the center of the universe, why aren't these 4 moons revolving around the Earth? He found that they were revolving around Jupiter. So from there, we had to enlarge our perspective to a wider range. But then, what did we do? We simply replaced one delusion with another delusion. Now the Earth was no longer the center of the universe. We believed the Milky Way galaxy was the only galaxy that existed in the universe. Then, has anybody heard of Edwin Hubble? Has anybody heard of the Hubble telescope? It's named after the scientist Edwin Hubble. Edwin Hubble, looking far off into outer space, he calculated that many of the stars that we're seeing, many of the bodies of light that we're seeing in the sky, are in fact entire galaxies of their own. And the nearest galaxy to the Earth, which is the Andromeda galaxy, is a few billion light years away. And this once again shattered the old perspective. Not only is there many more galaxies besides the Milky Way, but there are billions of galaxies, each one 100 billion galaxies, each one with 100 billion stars. We had to enlarge our perspective. But that was not the end of it. Today, the modern science is saying that everything that we're perceiving physically in the physical universe only occupies 4%. The remaining part of the universe, which is 96% of the universe, which they're calling the dark matter and the dark energy, that is the largest percent of the universe, which right now we are absolutely clueless about what it is. That is just like, for example, you live on the earth, which is 70% water, but you don't even, it's worse than that. And we don't even know what is water. Once again, we had to enlarge our field of perspective. And much of this major misunderstanding is coming because of the simple fact that we are far too identified with our limited sense of self. So, to put it very simply, what is a spiritual process? It is breaking through the illusion of your false sense of self and rediscovering your universal self. What we call personality is literally just like a mask. In fact, that's the meaning of personality. In the ancient Greek drama, when the actors will be playing on stage, they'll be holding up a mask and then they'll be acting from behind the mask. That mask was literally called the persona, from where we have the word personality. Now, I'm not suggesting that we don't need a personality to function in life. I have to talk to you right now. I need to put on a mask. And accordingly to the situation, we need to adopt different masks. With one person, with a friend, you put on one kind of mask. With a stranger, you put on another kind of mask. But the fundamental problem is once we start mistaking any of these masks as though it is our true nature, because after all, this mask is something we've slowly accumulated. After all, what is your personality except a bundle of memories? And if you're walking out on the street one day, suppose you fell over, you hit your head. I hope it doesn't happen to anybody. Hit your head, got amnesia. Suddenly, memory seems to be totally wiped out. Your being is there, your presence is still there, your pure existence is still there. So can you really say that you are these personalities you've gathered? These memories you've gathered? If that was true, then if the memories had disappeared, you would also disappear. Similarly, the body, isn't it a similar situation with the body? The body is a lump of matter. Slowly we have gathered it over time. So, cutting through the false sense of self and rediscovering what is your universal sense of self. For that, one has to break through this shell of self-importance. So I'll tell you a short story. There was once a man, a stone cutter, doing his usual everyday routine, just cutting stones. He looks over to the other side of the street. He sees that there's a merchant, a very wealthy merchant with many customers. Business is thriving. He thought in his mind, oh, how I would love to be like this merchant. At a flash of thought, suddenly he has discovered he has become that merchant. So he has become that merchant, surrounded by wealthy customers. Looking over to the other side, further down the street, he notices that there's a government official being held up high on by his servants on a high seat, moving through the street, and he's seeing all the people there are prostrating down, either out of fear or respect. He thought to himself, how I would love to be like this government official. Once again, like magic, faster than the speed of thought, he found he has become that government official. So now he's sitting on the high seat. He feels the strength of the sun like a burden upon him. He looked up to the sun and he thought to himself, oh, the sun, how so much of life is dependent upon the sun. The sun nourishes both the so-called good man and the so-called bad man without any discrimination. How I would love to have the power like the sun. Flash of thought, once again, he has become the sun. So now he is the bright, brilliant sun, spreading its light in all directions. And the strength of the light is destroying the crops for the farmers. The sun is being cursed and condemned. He thought, oh, what great sense of power that I have. Suddenly, a cloud of gas covered the way. His life was obstructed by a cloud. He thought, oh my God, at this point, I've even become the sun, but even this cloud can block my light. How much more powerful must be the cloud? I would like to be this cloud. Flash of thought. Once again, he has become the cloud. So now he's the cloud, drifting through the air. He feels something pushing against him. He wonders, what the hell is this? He notices it's the wind. If even the wind can force me out of my place, how much more powerful is this wind? Flash of thought, once again, he has become the wind. So he's traveling freely through the air. He comes across a barrier which he cannot break down. It was a mountain. He thought, oh my God, even the mountain can block my path. How I would love to be like this mountain. Once again, flash of thought, he has become this towering monument. But as he was sitting as the mountain, he felt pieces of himself slowly falling apart, pieces of himself being chiseled away. Feeling the sensation, he wondered, what the hell is this? He looked down, and what did he find? He found a stone cutter. He's made a full circle from a stone cutter to a stone cutter. That's exactly what spiritual process is like. It's a process of rediscovery. What is your original nature? Now once assume, just as a hypothesis, that this original nature is one and the same as the nature that moves through the whole creation, then isn't it logical that naturally you would be living in harmony within yourself? Everything falls into alignment. You're in perfect peace and freedom within yourself. It's only because this innermost dimension of who you are has not entered into one's perception that we are getting entangled in the coverings of the body, the coverings of the mind. So the fundamental process of yoga, to put it very simply, it's a process of uncovering. You're peeling the layers that you've become so deeply identified with.